back to the No Cover TV podcast. Look who I got sitting next to me. Uncle Ryano's in the house. Oh, yeah, there he is. We're going to have a great show today. I don't know if I'm going to control Uncle Rhino. It's his show, so whatever happens, happens. But I want to thank each and every one of you out there for checking out the No Cover TV podcast. All the audio shows that are on Spotify are right here on YouTube. You can check all the audio ones out, lots of them, hundreds of them. And you can also check out the great visual shows, the video shows that we're doing, just like we did back in the TV days. We get to look the artists right in the eyes, get to hear them play some music, and get to find out a lot about the artists and get them around the world. Of course, I got to thank some special people out there that are doing great things for the artists out there to get their music out there around the world. Let's go down that list. Sandra, you're out there from De La Parra Entertainment, Susan's News Management, Legion Entertainment, Around the Clock PR, SBM Global Media, Kaipo Entertainment, Andrea Howe Music Management, of course, Oz, you're out there from Blindfolded International Management. I want to thank all of you for being there for the artists to help them out. It's a great thing. We need to get the music out there for these artists. You know what I'm going to do next, people? Catch my breath. That's what I'm going to do. Jeez, oh, Pete. I got to say my three favorite words. Support, support, support these artists. Go to the shows, pay the cover charge if there is one. Get to the swag table. Get yourself a CD, an album, a hoodie, a t-shirt, coffee mug, keychain, bumper sticker. Oh my, it just goes on. Just get it all. Get out to the stage, enjoy the show, stay afterwards, see if you meet these great artists, get an autograph because they're all going straight to the top and they love doing what they're doing to put a smile on your face. And your smile kicks right back to them, puts a hell of a grin on the artist's face. Yeah, look at that grin on Uncle Rhino's face. Yes. So today in the house, Uncle Rhino, how are you doing, my friend and my brother?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm sending big love from Louisiana to Michigan and catching a little bit on everybody in between us.
There you go, my friend. You're a busy gentleman, I see. I've been checking things out here, friend.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. And
Might
we
as
got,
well.
yes, sir. And if they didn't need us, then there wouldn't be any problems anywhere and everything would already be fixed. But if that's not going to be the case, then it's time to glide out and we don't tiptoe, we strut.
That's right. That's how we do it, my friend. So, Uncle Rhino, we're going to take you all over the board today. I don't know if you've seen the show at all, but yeah, good. Thank you. We're going to it's your show, and let's just do it, my friend. Let me find a spot, and I had to get in there, and let's do some digging around, all right?
All right.
All right, I'm going to get into Uncle Rhino's head here. And of course, I got to take everybody back. I don't even want to talk music right now. I want to talk about Uncle Rhino. I want to know about you because
All right.
at around 7 to 10 years old, you're listening to what mom and daddy's playing, and maybe older siblings, and you're starting to like what they've got. You're tapping the foot. What were you kind of digging? What were they playing?
Well, the first one that there was a bunch of Anne Murray that was top 40 back then, and I can't even remember all the songs. I remember like Juice Newton, Queen of Hearts, um, Simon and Garfunkel, Mrs. Robinson. I didn't know what the subject matter was. She just sounded like a real nice lady in their song, uh, but the I think it was the acoustic breakdown that got me. I was feeling that before I understood what it was, and then the lyrics first hit me was during the Jimmy Carter era when they started bussing. And my parents had worked their butts off and sacrificed and done everything that they could to be able to buy a house in a good school district to try to provide the best education for the kids, just to have the government come in and move the goalpost and told us we didn't deserve that. We needed to be bused 2 hours every morning and every evening to the other side of town, changing buses and everything else. And there were a lot of built-in problems with that, having your kid transferring from bus to bus to bus, your kids moving back and forth. So my stepdad worked in the oil field, and we were out in West Texas, and he said, no, I'm just going to take you to school every day. You'll ride back the way that they've got you, but in the morning, I'm going to take you to school.
Sure.
So we did that together. And in those long rides to school each morning, there was a top 40 song on country radio that had a lady named Lacey J. Dalton. And
Yeah.
the song was called 16th Avenue. And it was a song that I just thought it was a street. And it had a lyric to it that spoke to me at 10 years old, had no rhyme or reason. This is one of the things why you might look and say, there's some divine direction here, because at 10 years old, there's no reason why the lyric, one night, some golden words rolled off of someone's tongue. Uh, they walked. What was it? They the chorus was. Uh, oh, I'm going completely blank now. If you'd asked me 10 minutes ago, I could have rattled the whole song
Right,
start to finish. But it was basically I thought the song was about just some guys that like to hang out with each other on this street. It was just some neighborhood I didn't understand, and it was. They walked away from everything to see a dream come true. God bless the boys who make the noise on 16th Avenue. I never dreamed that one day, with $1 million spirit and an old flat top guitar with years and years of living tucked up underneath their arms, they walked away from everything to see a dream come true. God bless the boys who make the noise on 16th Avenue. I never dreamed at 10 years old that in 12 years, I would be one of those boys on 16th Avenue, writing for BMG, Sony. I never dreamed that I would be that person. And even more so, when I told my publisher and one of my regular writing partners, Don Schlitz, author of Forever and Ever Amen and The Gambler and all these other songs, when I told him that story, he had me come into the office, but he and I weren't writing. He told me to go to my writing room, and I did. And Tom Schuyler was sitting in there who wrote 16th Avenue, and he and I wrote together that day. So
wow.
that's the stuff you can't make that up.
No,
You know,
no, you can't make that up at all. Wow. So, so parents were more or less into country. So that's kind of what you clung on to right there. And you went through, the 70s and 80s and stuff. Did you grab on any of that 80s rock and roll? Did you like any of that?
oh, absolutely. We're all, every one of us, all your listeners, you and I included, we're all muddy rivers. And the reason we're muddy is we carry every place we've ever been, everything we've ever loved. And when it attached to us, it rides with us till the end of our days when we finally meet the great ocean and move on. And tha- that's, uh, that's the way I see music. That's the way I see people. Early on, I started tearing down fences and walls
Right.
because music shouldn't be segregated, neither should people.
No,
And that was something that Ray Charles saw better than anyone else because his eyes didn't get in the way, and
sure.
so he tore that apart. And I followed his perspective when I got of age and started composing.
All
And
right.
I might have a country song that would have steel and a fiddle in it, but I was pulling old rock and roll vibes and heartbeats from like Huey Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I was pulling in lyrical perspectives and tip of the hat acknowledgments that I got from writing with Charlie Daniels and things like that. And so we would start doing that. And you had this cool fusion happening already. People weren't recognizing it audibly instantly, but they
Right.
were feeling a difference. Like, man, that's country, but it's different. They're
You're
like,
right.
yeah, I feel it, but it's different. I don't normally, and I hear this, I can't tell you how much I hear. I don't normally like country, but I love that,
I love
you
it.
know?
Right. That's
Yeah.
different.
Mm.
That's
And,
different.
and, and for me, it's like a religion. So why are we going to keep constantly only preaching to the choir? The worst things that ever happened to and I heard this old phrase, so don't throw rocks at me, but I think it's applicable to music. I heard someone once say that it offended me at first, but then I understood the meaning. They said the worst thing that ever happened to Christ was Christians. Okay. There weren't enough people who were Christ like. That's
Right.
what we needed, but we had too many Christians, okay? And people can apply that however they want to. For me, it's the same way with country music, okay? I got too many people who claim to love it, and they're the primary architects of what's killing it, okay? They
Right.
they don't they don't let it free flow and evolve just like any child. You can raise it up and design and produce or organize or arrange a song to a certain point in a studio, but then that child, once it's old enough, once it's grown and developed enough, that child will tell you what it wants to be when it grows up.
Right.
Now it's on us as parents, as writers, as producers. It's on us to guide that child to be the best version of that, what it wants to be,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
and for me, that's usually surpassed whatever my original hopes and dreams were. If I get out of its way, it usually will surpass it because I've never been the cause of why there's been so much success or people. I was just one of the many instruments involved in bringing people together.
Yes, you were. You've done quite a bit. But now, all right, I want to ask, when did you pick up the guitar? What age? And when did you start writing your songs down on paper?
Um, I was probably around the age of 14 when I started really getting into verse, like trying to create something lyrically.
Sure.
Um, some of it was surprisingly awesome, and some of it was hideous. There wasn't any gray area in between. It was fantastic or it was hideous.
Right
Um,
on. Yeah.
I, I picked up the guitar at 16.
All right.
It was one of those guitars that looked really good, but it was a piece of junk.
Ah,
Um, my sweet grandmother paid a nice man who was a guitar guy, not so
okay.
much, but he taught guitar,
Ah,
and she paid him $10 for an hour lesson,
all right.
and it became that was the only guitar lesson I ever took in my life.
It
After that, I knew that was something about that just didn't do it for me.
didn't
So
start.
yeah, after that, I took off running, and I was around a lot of blues men and stuff at the time. So I had them teach me a chord, a lick,
There
a
you
vibe, a feel.
go. That's the best way.
But looking back, yeah, because I never wanted to learn guitar so I could teach it in a middle school. I wanted to learn guitar so I could compose something that I wasn't already hearing.
You're right on. Now, when 18 hit, life hits. We've got to go to work, college, to raise a family or something. Did you put the guitar down at all, or did you continue on, or what happened here?
Well, it was a regular part of me at that point. Um, I
Okay.
was by the time 18, 19 hit, I was already playing in a few bands,
All right.
sitting in pre-constructed bands. One was an all-black band.
Okay.
Another one was a band that we'd kind of formulated with a dear friend of mine, Kevin Herron and Vicky Glover, and it was a band called the Hired Guns, and that was in around 1990, I think, and we were playing around East Texas. The other clubs, the Mystics that we played, and the All Black Band. I was a kid that sometime I would play acoustic, but most of the time they had me standing at the end of the stage blowing on the harmonica, blowing the reeds out of it, and
Right on.
'cause I was picking that up too. So I was real heavily involved. Country, I heard BB King say country and blues are the same music with a different G chord. And so once you realize that, it was the wall or the fence between the two dissolved. And
Oh,
so it was just different rhythms of how to do the same thing for working people and their anthem, their soundtrack to their daily lives, right?
right
So
on.
I jumped in that, and I approached R&B that way, rhythm and blues, and it always felt natural. I can hear rhythm and blues when I hear Bob Wills. I can hear Marty Robbins when I hear Al Green. I mean, I can hear all these different people that are all drawing water from the same well. That's why their songs are timeless. And
Yes.
so it's what Harlan Howard called three chords and the truth. You know.
I like that. Three chords of the truth. I like it.
Mhm.
And now, are you playing out a lot, mostly solo? Do we have a backup band?
No, I've got multiple bands. I'm not playing out very much at all.
Okay.
I've done a few appearances last year, 2024, because I disappeared for 15 years. I retired and walked away from everything at my peak with Abel Kane.
I
That
know.
was yeah,
I
that was
know.
that was my rock band, and we were crushing it,
Yeah, you
and
were.
we tore everything down, all the fences, all the walls. We had banjos spanking, rolling back beats, and we had turntables scratching right in the middle of that with 20-foot stack of Marshall cabinets and a Les Paul doing heavy rock. Had a country vocal. this guy,
you
right?
know, you guys were killing it with Abel Kane. What you put out one album wasn't it in '83?
No, no, we put the one. No, that album came out in '06. We
Oh
put that
six.
one. Yeah, we put that one album out. And the thing was, I had because of what I'd been through doing it the conventional way with Nashville, and I
Sure.
saw behind the curtain. I was
Mm-hmm.
so disappointed because to me it was holy ground. The industry was holy ground,
Right. Right.
and my first record deal was with Imprint Records, and
All
they'd
right.
spent all this money on all these artists that would impress other labels in the industry.
Right.
They
Yeah.
weren't.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the demographic and the real people out there, and I was kind of acknowledged as the first one that was actually for the people and not for the industry.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
so
Right.
we put that out. I fell in love with the amazing people at radio across the country and all the places that they tell you in Texas they're not going to like you. Come to find out, they were some of my favorite people in the world, like New York
Oh
and
yeah.
Atlanta and all over LA. They were pumping it. And when we went for ad date, that was the big moment of truth. We went for ad date with that first single. It was called Do I Ever Cross Your Mind? And Alan Jackson had the most radio single ads that week. Number two was John Anderson. Number three was Wade Hayes because he'd just gone double platinum with his Old Enough to Know Better and Still Too Young to Care album. And then coming in fourth, nobody saw it coming. It was this guy.
Yeah.
And,
He was
and
there.
yeah, yeah, and everybody lost their mind because that wasn't even on the to-do list. Nobody thought that was going to happen. And then all this bad press started coming out about the label instantly because the old machine is deep,
Yeah.
and they're all newspapers and magazines and old institution labels. They don't like anything that's going to upset the power dynamic. And
No.
in 1 week, in 1 week, we went from having nothing but good press. In 1 week, we had all this press come out how all of our publicly held stock was going to be worthless, and all this stuff was coming out. And truth be told, I think the label had misappropriated money, but
Uh,
our stock went from $5 a share to like 3 cents a share in like 24 hours. And the label calls me in and goes, yeah, we know that you just like kicked the crap. We collectively just dominated with this single, and radio's catching fire with it.
right.
And we know that the single on CMT is like the hot shot for like 10 weeks or something. We know all this is happening, but we're closing the label today. And we're doing it. We're going to set you free. We're going to turn you loose and let you get another deal, which you just spent a year and a half of your life building up for
Yeah.
this.
Right. Yeah.
But they were going to set me free, and there was a whole bunch more to that. Edel America had come at us and asked me to submit a rodeo song, which I did for a new project for the PRCA, the Pro Rodeo Cowboy Association,
Sure.
and I had done that, and I didn't know who else was on the project. Come to find out, it was Willie and Johnny Cash and Emmylou Harris and Toby Keith and Kathy Mattea and Vince Gill. But I had put this song out that was called "Cowboy Up" that became a catchphrase,
Yep.
and the song was the title track for the album. So it's called "Cowboy Up,"
Boy.
and yep, and it caught fire, and they wanted to release it as a single, and my label wouldn't let me because they didn't want it to compete with my single, and they wanted all my points off of that project to recoup against my label, and then my label shut its doors, so we lost out on everything across the board. Yeah, yeah. So
Ah,
that was round one with
right.
the machine, right? Everybody else is taken care of. All the managers and publicists and labels and publishers, they all have relationships with each other. You are just the gasoline that fuels their machine. They
That's
make
right.
you they make you think that you're the focus, but you're not. You're just the
Oh,
fuel.
yes,
Hmm.
you are. just for their pocket. Oh man, I mean, you guys had a hell of a journey and a career. You've seen a lot. You won many freaking awards. I don't. I can you count how many awards you won?
Well, all in the stuff that was the stuff that was directly for me or something I was directly I had my name on. Uh, Really, the ones that stick out to me were the SOCANs, the Canadian awards that
Sure.
are also acknowledged in the U.S. The SOCAN, it's North America,
Hmm.
and you got Juno, you got Grammys, you got
Right.
ACMs and all that, but mine is really the SOCAN awards, and
Okay.
it's something crazy. It's like out of 180,000 songs or something, you make it in the top five, and out of the top five. Um, I won with Lisa Brokop, a phenomenal, incredible person and a phenomenal, incredible artist. I always will. She'll be one of my favorites, and she for a long time we were very close and we're good friends, I believe. But we just lost touch over the years. But she she released one that was a song called "I'd Like to See You Try." And that won in 2002. Then we were nominated again the next year with Whiskey and Wine, but we didn't make it. And my song with Gil Grand that he had, a song called Run, it was nominated again for a video of the year. I've had a ton of cuts, and my cuts have ended up in movies and TV shows and many of the top TV shows and movies. But as far as the awards go, there were a lot of things. I was part of a lot of projects that went on and did some huge things, changed music forever. But as far as the stuff that had me at the front, on the front, my name on the front of the trophy, it's really just those three.
Sure.
Really, yeah,
Okay.
jumped out to me.
You know, Uncle Rhino, you're an amazing artist. Do you think we might be able to get a song out of you, brother?
Oh yeah, I've got one I was piddling with this morning. We've almost got it finished in the studio. Um, I've I've been tinkering around with it. I From the East Texas, well, Texas period, in Oklahoma, all the way up through the Kansas. There's a style of music that's known as red dirt,
Sure.
and people outside of the industry aren't familiar with it, but it's kind of a raw, eclectic. The original reason for red dirt, the reason it formed, it was people that didn't fit in the cookie cutter. Uh, Design of Nashville, which is just a repeatable product. That's why people sound the same. Um, we They started creating that back in the '70s, and I grew up with it around me. And it's a little bit rhythm and blues, a little bit rock, whole lot of country, a lot of Americana, a lot of just rural music. Outside by the people for the people. That's red dirt. And
Sweet.
when I came back, because I stepped away and retired for 15 years, Billy Ray Cyrus pulled me out of retirement.
I
That
see that.
that's funny, but he
Yeah.
he kept on and kept on, and I finally said yes. It made me feel pretty being chased. Made me feel so pretty.
I
But
bet it did.
I had a lady, a person involved with country music and in the Texas market, who told me that my music just wasn't red dirt. And I was floored because I remember what red dirt was when it was born, why it was created, and what it's become is a parody of a parody. It's like a carbon copy that doesn't have the original features anymore. It's so blurred and fuzzy.
Yeah.
And it made me mad. And I got stuck in a traffic jam in Houston, Texas. And by the time I reached my destination, I had this.
All right. There's Uncle Rhino.
My buddy Barry Coffin came in and helped me put some I's and dotted some T's at the end of it, and we got it. But this is what we came up with since she told me I wasn't red dirt.
All right.
Yeah. It's underneath my nail and the soles of both my feet, swirling through my veins as my heart hammers out a beat. Same way the old Red River slowly rolls around a bend, carrying deep inside every place that it's ever been. And the red dirt roars inside of every twister. There's a scarlet haze where I was raised with my brothers and my sisters. It's so much more than where I'm from or the color of the land. Red dirt covers everything I am. I've climbed the ivory towers. I've crawled through the valleys low. I was hauling where I started, every place that I might go. I put gravel in my travel, left footprints in the sand. Looking back at all my tracks, I can see the master's hand. And the red dirt roars inside of every twister. There's a scarlet haze where I was raised with my brothers and my sisters. It's so much more than where I'm from on the color of the land. Red dirt covers everything I have. Yeah. Underneath the open sky, so much more than meets the eye. Where happiness and hell collide. A wet dream, cowboy ride. And red dirt roars inside of every twister. There's a scarlet haze where I was raised with my brothers and my sisters. It's so much more than where I'm from or the color of the land. Red dirt covers everything I am. Red dirt covers everything I am.
Oh, Uncle Rhino, thank you, my friend. Thank you. That was great, brother. I'm liking this
Yeah.
going.
I appreciate the love. I finally reached the age where I'm having performance issues. I didn't even try to stretch my fingers and stretch my legs on that one. So a couple of them I was jumping around on chords, and as soon as the finger touched down, that voice in my head went, "Mm-mm, don't do that.
Don't
Mm-mm,
do
that,
that
yeah,
one.
mm-mm."
Funny how things change as we get older, doesn't
Yes,
it?
sir, they do.
That
Yeah.
is great.
I can't make it look pretty, but I make it look easy. Go ahead.
There you go. Now, now when everyone came, stopped, and you took a break and stuff, you came back in. How many years has it been that you've been just working on your own solo project now? How many years?
Well, I mean, I did my solo thing in the beginning, and that was
Right.
kind of a problem in Nashville because all my songs just literally went into a hermetically sealed vault. I was a very prolific writer. I wrote so much, tons of high marquee co-writes, but a lot by myself. I ended up with a catalog of over 2,000 works, 35 albums worth of fully produced stuff, and they would never pitch it. They said, well, he's going to end up cutting it, so they just wouldn't pitch it,
That
and
one.
so it all just sat there. The stuff that did get cut, like by Warner Brothers, Paul Brandt, and several of the other projects that we would do, and all the TV cuts and everything, though
Right.
that all happened. That would always happen because of my relationship with co-writers or someone, and they would play that for somebody. So it was actually all the cuts happened by going around the machine,
Neat.
not going through it.
Yep.
And like the songs that were cut in the past kept coming back in a different form, which was a testament to something that's real and timeless, like the Cowboy Up song, for instance. So
Sure.
that was written in '97, and we cut it around the same time. And then the next thing I know, that was for the rodeo, and you thought that did all it was going to do, but then it ended up getting picked up as the theme song for a CMT show called Cowboy U. So that started happening. And
Right.
then that went, and then it got picked up as the anthem for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is getting underway right now.
Right.
That's the second largest rodeo on the planet, and the largest rodeo on the planet is the Calgary Stampede up in Calgary, Canada, and they had it also for about a decade. It was their anthem,
That's
and
really
then right when you think that okay, there's nowhere else for it to go, right? At
yeah.
that point, I was really focused on family losses I reached that point, that age where life quits giving you things, it starts taking them away. And I started losing a whole bunch of family, and they all started going through, and we basically, thank you, baby. Got everybody departing for the Mardi Gras parade, so I'll be catching up with them here in a little while. But anyway, um, basically, what happened was they I get this call from my co-writer that Cowboy Up is now in heavy rotation, and people are going crazy in Boston, Massachusetts,
Oh,
because um, there there's some guys on the team who love the song, so they started playing it in the locker room, and the catchphrase started being shouted back and forth among the players of the Boston Red Sox. And the press overheard it, so the press started echoing it. Then the people in the crowd started echoing it, and the next thing you know, it's supposedly like a thing in New England. And my mother was battling stage 4 cancer at the time, and that was all my attention. I had just lost my grandfather. I was losing the people who built me, and that was where all my attention was. So I was unplugged from the world. And my stepdad and I were on the phone. Wednesday night had been the award for the SOCAN where I was nominated for whiskey and wine, but we didn't win, but it was an honor to be mentioned.
yeah.
That was Wednesday night. Thursday, I'm talking to my stepdad on the phone, and he says, "Well, have you thought about going to Boston?" Because they had kept inviting me to come play, and I told him I would regretfully I thanked them for the consideration, but I wasn't in the right place to do it. And he kept pushing. He said, "Have you thought about going to Boston?" I said, "No, I can't. We can't. We got bigger things going on right now. We can't do this." And he said, "Well," he said, "let me tell you like this." He said, "Last night, Wednesday night, the award show night, he said, your mom came home from chemo. He said she took her bath. She got in her jammies, is what she called them. She grabbed a cup of coffee and she went and sat in front of that TV, so excited. And he said she watched this, she had it turned to CMT. She saw her baby boy's name come up across the screen. That girl came out, that beautiful girl came out singing that song. Everybody in the crowd was singing with her. He said, for 50 minutes, your mama wasn't sick. He said, for 50 minutes, she glowed. I said, so what are you telling me? He said, well, I'm just saying, how many more chances are we going to have to make your mama smile? And if it was me, I'd probably be taking my ass to Boston. So soon as I hung up with him, that's when I made the decision to jump and go forward. And I called him and I said, I'm in. And I told him what I needed. I waved off the money part. I didn't care about that. It's about the human to human thing that drives me. And so they flew me and my wife up, and they flew my mother and my stepdad up.
Oh, that's
And the pilot told us to look out the port side. That's the left side of the plane. He said it was nighttime. We didn't know what was happening, and the whole plane was full of people and looked like they were going to a rodeo. And it was all people decked out in cowboy gear, top to bottom. And we get there, and the pilot announced that I was on the plane, and the plane was going crazy. And me and my wife were like, "Whoa, what is happening here?"
right,
And the
right.
and the pilot said, in honor, he said, "We're gonna. I'm turning off all the cabin lights. Let's look out the port side of the plane." It was nighttime, and everybody did, us included. And he took an extra lap before we landed,
Oh, wow.
and all the skyscrapers and the beautiful skyline of Boston all the skyscrapers in downtown Boston had the office lights turned on, spelling "Cowboy Up" down the side of the
Oh,
buildings.
beautiful, brother. Beautiful, man. And, you know your mama's angel. That's something else.
She
And,
got to see that, and then I did it stripped down. I didn't take the band. I just took a guitar like you just saw me, and I walked out. It was me and James Taylor had just played, and then I rolled out, and it was Michael Bolton. He did the
like a
anthem.
Bolton. You did the
Yeah,
anthem. Okay. Okay.
and
All
and
right.
I walked out with just a guitar on my back, and they'd been putting my picture all over the paper, but a lot of people, didn't put it together. And then, but
Right.
it was the coolest thing, because you got the normal crowd chatter when you walk out into it's 55,000 people, and when you walk out, you're going to hear that, that
Right.
crowd
Oh,
chatter.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the minute that I started to play, the chatter kind of, you heard it kind of collectively dip a little bit.
Sure.
But then when the minute that I did the first verse of Rambling Fever took him when he was 21, the place got quiet.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then when we hit the chorus, the entire stadium was singing the chorus with me. And my mom was sitting behind home plate holding Linda Ruth Tercetti's hand. That's the babe's great granddaughter, Linda Ruth Tercetti. She was holding my mom's hand behind home plate, and they got to see her. Boy, I just turned, locked eyes with my mother,
Right
and I
on.
was just slamming into that guitar, digging in. And I had 55,000 of my closest friends singing with me.
Right.
You know,
That's wonderful. Well, now, well, on that right there, I want to ask you because you performed in front of, a crowd of probably one to two in the beginning, all the way up to 100,000 people. And in all these journeys, when you get up there and hit that mic and those chords and you start playing and these people start rocking out to your music, brother, and you see this, man, how does it hit your heart and make you feel, man?
connected.
Thank
Uh, when you're coming up, you want to be recognized for what you can contribute to the
you.
world. Some people translate that into wanting to be famous, but there's other ways to be famous. I mean, Kim Kardashian proved that. Um, there's other ways to be famous, but for me, I it wasn't about being famous. I wanted to be worthy of the people that I could stand next to. And I just wanted to be seen as worthy. I never wanted to be, oh, he's the greatest of all. I wanted to test myself to see if I was worthy. And that was the running joke with that one guitar lesson that cost $10. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I would be in Nashville. I went from being the one guy with one guitar lesson in Nashville to that was $10, and we made a joke out of it. It was like I'm surrounded by all these people who have doctorates from Juilliard, and
Right.
they're taking notes on my stuff, and and,
Exactly.
and it was
Well, so
like
what happened here? Yeah. What corner
yeah,
did
the joke was either that was a hell of a lesson, or or as we would say it in East Texas, that bastard still owes me $5 worth.
right. You got
Yeah.
change coming back on that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. He owes me some money. That was either a hell of a lesson, or that joker still owes me $5 worth.
That's right, man. Change coming back. Now,
Mm.
I'm curious to know you worked with some different labels, and a lot of them are doozies out there, and I put my foot up many of their asses. Are you working with anybody right now, or are you just doing it all yourself?
Well, this didn't have a plan. Um, I Once I decided to step back out, I did one song that was originally that song I did with Billy Ray Cyrus, "Twerking with a Twang." It's crazy, but it rocks, and it's actually got a real legit message. It's not what everybody thinks it is when they listen to it, and that's basically music's for everybody, and you don't judge a book by any cover. And it's the lyric in the bridge is music isn't black and music isn't white. We're all the same color under neon lights. Uh, when looking at a cover, never judge the book because a country girl will make you take another look. And it's like
There you go,
you know,
man.
and that's, I mean, that's really what everybody, if it's real, you can feel it. And when you feel it, let it go,
That's
you know?
right. I
And
love
that's what we, I came out, and that was Snoop and Billy were originally going to do a duet on that song. And
Oh,
then there was some stuff that kind of popped in and out. There was a lot of stuff going on for Billy and a few other things, and they didn't end up doing it. And then Billy circled around and asked me to go in and track it and produce it because I'd done some other stuff right out of retirement that he really liked.
okay.
So I wasn't going to ever be seen. I was just going to be creating stuff in the studio and turning it loose for other people.
Right.
And we did that one song, and then bam, just like that, we had 11 other songs fall out. And that was with Brian
Oh,
Austin Cuevas and me. And that became an album called The Voices in My Head.
okay.
And so we did that. And somebody on Music Row made the comment, "Man, that's great. Yeah, that's great. He does good stuff, but he's been retired for a long time, so that's probably all he had in the tank." And
Sure.
when they said that, it went back to the proverbial red ass that I had. So I turned around, and 3 months later, I dropped another 12-song album called New West. I can do this all
Oh,
day. Yeah,
right.
yeah. I won't. We don't run out of music that'll punch you in the mouth. I just run out of money. That's all it is.
Right, yeah, that goes quick, real quick. Let me
Mhm.
ask you, I guess this is a three-phase question. Are you writing music for others? Do you plan on ever selling your catalog of music? And is it a split with Abel and Cain on all the music, and who has the rights to their music?
Yes, yes, and no.
All right,
The way I did with Abel Kane was I maintained the writer's share. There were songs that I gave, even if I wrote it by myself, I would give other members credit. That would be something that could never be taken away. So no matter how publishing companies shift and everything else, by splitting the writer share, even if you weren't necessarily the writer of it, I've done that several times with a lot of people. That can never be taken away. More so than I probably should have through the years, different situations. But
right.
I, I, I always look at I don't look at each song. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that's the greatest song I'll ever write." No, that just proves that I could do that on that day. So now I have to beat that song.
Yeah,
That's
that's
me.
right. That's right, man. That's right. All right. Oh, wow. We're already at 43 minutes. Well, a few more questions and maybe a song to get us out of here. All right. I want to ask this one right here. You've been doing this a while. You've been doing it in front of a lot of people. This had to happen a lot, maybe a few times. Any embarrassing moments out there, Uncle Rhino on stage you want to talk about?
Oh, I mean, there's a longer list than we got time to answer.
Right, right. Let's just give him a couple.
Mm, I think two. I've had a couple where when you're so beat, people don't realize that, like the Bellamy brothers said, it's a hard way to make an easy living. And you can only be so sleep deprived for so long
Right.
because you'll, let's say you get up at 5 in the morning, you pour 2 cups of coffee down the hole in your face and one hot cup down the front of your pants. Either way,
Right.
you're going to be awake. And then you go and meet with the radio, and you got to be on because you're just there for a minute. Then you're
Right.
back in some form of a transportation vehicle, and you're shagging butt to another meeting. And then you get to wherever you got to do sound check. You
Excellent.
make sure you do all that. You get that done. You stick around for a meet and greet. Pretty much your whole day is going to be wiped out with about somewhere between 5 to 7 meetings, and then you get a little bit of time to be quiet and be still and try to get
Right.
it together, and then you roll out and do the show. And then after the show, you've got meet and greet after that. And we could do a 2 hour show, but it could end up like for the, because
Oh,
we never would leave anyone. So we would sign autographs and take pictures with people for up to 4 hours. And
nice.
so I have to put all this into context. So you never want to leave anybody without you giving everything you have to give. But eventually you're so spent. And I had one time where we did Good Morning Arizona, and it was live going out to like six, it- 6 or 7 million people, and it was the joke was I just forgot where the hell I was, but we were it was Abel Kane. We were doing a song called Sticks, and I took a harp solo, and I just took off with it. I just kept going solo. The guys are sitting there waiting, like, where in the hell is he going? Well, we're just going to stay right here and keep playing the same chord. We're going to wait for him to come back, and I just kept going. And then I realized, oh crap, this is not the outro. This is a whole different part of the song. Whoops. And I slid back into it and started doing it again. And it ended up that we played out going into a commercial. Instead of it would have been finish the song, do a question, say bye, and then go to commercial. And and probably the people who remember it's probably just the bandmates and me right now. But I was I was so mentally spent and so sleep deprived that it was like I needed, those gutter guards you have in bowling. I literally needed those with life right there.
Right, bumpers.
Yeah, yeah,
That's right, man. The bumpers, exactly.
yeah. That's it.
Couple more questions, Uncle Rhino. You think you'll ever put a band back together?
I've got a few right now, and what I'm doing is I'm using some of the bands that are backing me up periodically. I'm using them to launch them, and I'm using myself as the wrecking ball to knock the walls down. I'm doing that with a couple. I've got one I'm eyeballing out in Arizona. I've got one in Savannah, Georgia that I'm very close to, Delta Circle, sending love out to them. I've got another band that I'm going to jump up and do some music with them. It's an artist known in the Texas circuit, in the red dirt circuit, known as Bad Boy Leroy. I love him to death. He's a military veteran and a great human being. I've got about 80, roughly about 80 artists right now that I'm mentoring, coaching, co-writing with,
Oh,
co-producing projects. Dale Penner from Nickelback and Loverboy and the Top Gun soundtrack.
oh,
He's a good friend and just an incredible musical genius. He's been mixing on my stuff, and now he's coming in. He sees what I'm trying to do with these artists, and he's offered his services to come split the ticket and help me because
right on.
there's not enough of me to get everywhere. So he and
He's,
I,
no.
yeah, it's just not. And he is he's going to start co-producing with me on a handful of artists, and I'll probably do this with some other artists who are. It helps also, like if they're cutting some of my stuff, my back catalog, because
Right.
currently, as it stands right now, we're looking at around 15 of my old songs are on deck to be recorded. So I've got that going right now this
Great.
year, and so I'm pushing this together. We also have a huge collab coming that I'm so freaking stoked about. Um, my friend Tracy Laporte, who's also a Gold Star mom and my co-host on the Two Step Tribe podcast
All
that we
right.
just started. Yeah, we'll have to get you on too. See, it's kinfolk, it's yin and yang.
Let's do it,
But
brother.
we really support all of our veterans, not just in verbiage, but in practice when nobody's looking. And we honor all service members and their families who are also to us service members behind the scenes. And we're bringing all these people together, and we've already had Billy Ray Cyrus on. We've had Dale Penner come on. We've
Oh.
we're bringing in all these heavies, and we're sprinkling all the indie artists in between them. So you on one artist, like we had a phenomenal artist named Howard County with Billy Ray on that episode. Then on another episode that we just had, we had Silent Sounds, hip hop producer from Chicago, who was just up for a Grammy. We had him on the same show as Bad Boy Leroy. All right. And we'll have another one, for instance, where we had um, uh, 100 Meter Scream, a rock band out of Miami,
Oh.
and yeah, I mean they're phenomenal, and we're bringing all these guys. We had them on with Bubba Wesley, who has the song out "Damn Baby" that was, heard it played on the at the Super Bowl. And so we're bringing all these Manny Cabo from The Voice, as well as Delta blues legends like Henry Turner Jr. from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're putting all these guys together, and it's really, we're making the world the way it ought to look, where music and people free flow back and forth. And there's some, you'll find something cool all the time. So we're doing this kind of stuff, and me and Tracy have her publishing company. My company is called Crash Down Music with Travis Moody, and we are now spinning off Star Spangled Bangers, and that's going
I
to
like
be,
that.
that's not
Nice.
only going to be a publishing house, but it's also the name of a collab group of artists. And Bree Carter, Queen of Country Soul, has signed on to a song that I wrote with Malik Youssef. Malik, also a phenomenal icon in the hip hop and R&B world, wrote all the hits for Jay Z, for Lil Wayne, Kanye. Just had a ton. He's been active in all that stuff, and he and I wrote a thing together called "Change It,"
Oh, wow.
and it's huge. It's musically bringing in. We have this massive African American gospel choir in the background, while we have Queen's "We Will Rock You" groove going underneath it, and
Nice.
we got the organic instruments. And Bree Carter, who is an incredible indie artist, she's the queen of country soul. She plays the black rodeo circuit, the black trail rides, all that. That's really reconnecting all aspects of country music, no longer letting it get separated and segregated.
Right.
We're bringing everyone home, and she's taking the first verse. I'm taking the chorus. Howard County, the grand champion winner of the Texas State Songwriting Championship, he's doing the second verse. Then I'm doing the chorus again. Then Jesse Roach, 3-time female vocalist of the year with the Country Music Association of Texas, she's coming in and doing the bridge. And we've got Leaf Shively, which is, it's like a 2025 version of Creed. They're phenomenal.
Wow.
The Lee Shively band, and they're going to be backing us up. We're cutting all this in Grand Cane, Louisiana. It's going to be insane, and so we're doing. That's going to be the first of 4 collabs by the Star Spangled Bangers.
Nice,
Yeah.
brother. Nice. Uncle Rhino's in the house. Everybody, you know him. Oh, yeah. His face has been around a long time, making everybody happy with his music, whether it was with Abel Kane or just Uncle Rhino himself, man. Amazing gentleman, amazing artist, a superstar in the right. My God. Thank you so much, my friend, for joining us today. You are amazing, brother. I can't wait to get back with you. And maybe when I'm in Louisiana, we're going to hook up or something, you know?
Oh yeah, I'll feed you till you can't walk to the car,
There
brother
you
man.
go. That's all I need. All right, brother, we're going to get out of here. It's your show. You want to say hey or hi to anybody out there before we get out of here?
Man, you guys, y'all just keep supporting the no cover charge. I mean, you keep rocking the show, because this no cover TV. I mean, these guys are lighthouses, and we're all working together. We're never working against each other. We're a confederacy of people who are doing it for the right reason, and we're working hard for you. And we need your help. We need your support. You can swing by uncleryano.com, ryano.com. We've got my link tree there with all my socials. If you follow me, I follow you back. Check out the Two Step Tribe show. That's a sister station. We're all in the same fight for the light mission here with the
Right,
No Cover TV. So
right.
we're there's not either or. We're all in it to win it. And we're in it together. So thank you all.
Thank you, Uncle Rhino. Like I said, we're in it together. So stay tuned for the next episode coming out. We don't know where in the world it'll be, but we got a lot of great artists. We're out here. Peace.